Vaginal gymnastics. Is that what I need to flip my love life into a new level of pleasure? What is up, sapiosexuals? Thank you for turning on Sex in South Beach with your girl, Dr. Sanjaya, America's sex educator. I'm so excited today because the sex situation we're getting into is vaginal gymnastics. Seriously, you guys, if you want to learn how to level up your love life, we have got to learn more about this new practice. And I am so excited today to have Bel Di Lorenzo with us. Bel Di Lorenzo is the CEO and founder of Gohddess, and author of the best-selling book, The Gohddess Method. If you want to know why I'm saying it like this, because it's Gohddess. So it's really like Gohddess Method, which dives into the world of pompor or vaginal gymnastics. Over the years, Bel has empowered women worldwide by coaching them in this practice, which enhances female pleasure, boosts libido, and amplifies orgasms. What is up? I'm so happy to have you here, Bel.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to dive into this. And I just love the way that you say goddess. I think that was beautiful. The best pronunciation I've ever heard.
So am I saying the pompor right? How do you say it? Pompor?
So I say pompoir. I've heard people say pompor. Like there's so many different pronunciations of it. And we still don't even know where the word comes from. Some people believe it's French. Some people believe it's Indian. There are traces of this sort of practice and throughout history, throughout different cultures, throughout time. So some people believe this whole, dexterity and mastery of the vaginal muscles came from India or from China or from Thailand. And even nowadays we can find ping pong shows where women in Thailand will shoot up ping pong balls through their vaginas and zip through cups and do all of these crazy things. And obviously that requires a lot of power and dexterity. But really, we are the ones who just decided to kind of make it more step-by-step, practical, science-backed. Because if someone can make sex a very nerdy affair, it's definitely me. So I wanted it to be like a thing where, you can just really learn how these muscles work, how the biomechanics of the vagina works, and how you can apply this for incredible, incredible pleasure. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you for having this platform.
I'm super excited because I'm very, very enthusiastic about natural ways that people can improve their sexual experiences. And so many people want to turn to a medication. And we really don't even know the long-term effects of a lot of these medications. But what we do know is that when you learn how to master certain exercises, they really do have long-term health benefits for your body. And so tell us about this vaginal gymnastics class that you've developed, because it's the first one ever. Is that correct?
So we are the very first all-in pompor animated course. There are some courses on Kegels and vaginal weightlifting, and those really focus on strength. What we focus on is getting you to learn all sorts of crazy skills. I'm talking squeezing, milking, locking, whipping, ringing, twisting, all of these crazy things that you can do with your vagina. That's why we call it, I like to call it vaginal gymnastics, because I think it's very visual to think about being able to be like an Olympic gymnast in the vaginal affairs. So that's kind of what we do. We teach you all of this dexterity and how to control each of these muscle fibers so that you can do all sorts of crazy things. And they're not just impressive, obviously, for your partner. They're mostly focused on your pleasure, because a lot of women who come to us, their biggest concern is that penetration or anything that has to do with inside stimulation doesn't feel that good. It's like, I understand the clitoris and that's great. And when we're doing foreplay and when he, touches my clitoris or goes down on me, that feels fantastic. But everything that goes inside, everything that happens afterwards, it's just for his pleasure, right? He penetrates me and I guess that's okay, but it's really just feels like someone on top of me. And sometimes it can even feel uncomfortable for some women. But what these exercises really develop is sensitivity inside your vagina. vagina. So you almost develop more texture inside of you. It feels really, really strong. It feels really, really tight. It feels really warm. And also it helps with arousal and lubrication. So all of this strengthening that's going on, even without doing the exercises actively during the lovemaking session, you're going to feel everything way more intensely. And then obviously, if you decide to, you're in the middle of the passion and you decide, I'm going to use the twisting motion, then you can even amplify things and get you both to orgasm in a really very, very unique way that truly only happens with pompoir, with vaginal gymnastics. So yes, that is what it is. It's essentially treating the pelvic floor muscles like we treat any other muscle. When we go to the gym to get a nicer butt, we don't just do squats. We do squats and hip thrusts and lunges and kickbacks and side isolations.
Absolutely.
The same thing is true for the pelvic floor muscles. You can do all sorts of crazy exercises, and they will all develop different parts and different fitness components, because it is one thing to be strong. It is a different thing to be flexible. It's a different thing to be speedy, to be fast, to be powerful. So there are all of these different components that we teach in the world of vaginal gymnastics that really make you become an Olympic gymnast when it comes to this stuff.
And so what you're saying is vaginal gymnastics definitely increases pleasure for the female who's participating in penetrative intercourse.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
But what I also would assume is that it also increases pleasure for her partner as well.
Big time.
Blows his mind. And one of the things I have often explained to women is that guys never forget the woman who squeezed. They never. So I imagine this is not just squeezing, but she's twisting and turning and spiraling. That is like, he doesn't want to call you, but he's got to get back with you.
Sonja, it's gotten to a point where I have to say, we're really big on TikTok, that I have to open up my TikToks with, warning, do not use this stuff on a man you don't care about, because trust me, this guy will not stop calling you. Like, trust me, just don't. Only use this on a guy you really want for life, because this guy will not leave you alone. It's so rare to find a woman who can do all of these things. It is so unique. And men cannot go backwards when it comes to sex. I believe it's Chris Rock who has an entire stand-up on this. Once they experience this, it's like, it's over. It's over. So women throughout time who were believed to have done this, just to give you an example of the power of this. So Wallis Simpson was the woman who King Edward VIII abdicated the throne for. This woman was twice divorced, American. She was in her 40s, and she managed to completely enamor King Edward VIII, who was going to be the king of England, and nobody could understand why. Everyone's like, how is this guy so mesmerized by this woman? She has no titles, no prospects. She's American. It made no sense to anyone. And so evil minds speculated that Wallis, during her time in China, she had traveled alone quite a fair bit, and her ex-husband would take her. He wasn't a good man. He would take her to brothels and where apparently people believe that she was able to learn all of these techniques, and she used these on Edward, who abdicated the throne so that they could get married. He was absolutely in love with this woman. So we don't know if this is true. This is all alleged, obviously, but it just goes to show the power of this stuff. It's very much a unique power that not many people know about, to the point that a lot of our students, they're like, I want to tell all my friends about this, but also I don't want everyone to know.
Right. You don't want everyone to know all your secrets.
Yeah, it's crazy. But what I always say with that is like, look, everyone has access to body weight training or exercises, and yet not everyone has a six-pack, right? So just because we have access to this knowledge and how you can train the vaginal muscles doesn't mean that everyone's going to put in the time, because it does take 15 to 20 minutes every morning to practice this stuff. You're training your muscles. So it does take discipline. So yeah, it's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff.
So I also imagine that this is very beneficial. I think that vaginal gymnastics would be very beneficial for women who have given birth.
Oh, yes.
And they want to recover their sensation. I can remember when I was pregnant, one of my neighbors stopped me on the street and she said, I just want you to know it's never going to be the same again. Sex will never be the same after a baby. And first of all, I thought
What a terrible, rude thing
tell
to
a
say to
pregnant woman
someone.
that's really mean. But also, I was thinking, well, maybe she's just not fit enough. That was my, maybe she's just like, oh my goodness, that was
That's
horrible.
so rude. That blows my mind. That is terrible. Yeah,
So, have you worked with women? Have you taught women who are postpartum vaginal gymnastics, and did it
correct.
improve their sexual experiences?
Correct. That's a huge demographic, and it's actually one of the most well-researched demographics when it comes to everything that has to do with pelvic floor training. So pelvic floor training, even to the most basic degree. So we know about Kegels, right? And lifting and releasing. And that's the very, very basics of pompoir, if you will. We talk about Kegels like we say Kegels are to pompoir or vaginal gymnastics what strawberry is to fruit. So it's one of the dozens and dozens and dozens of skills that you have inside of it. So Kegels, there's a lot of research on how women postpartum can do pelvic floor training of the Kegel sort, and they enhance obviously their sensation. They become way stronger. They become way more sensitive. A lot of them much more sensitive than they were before they were pregnant. So when you actually train these muscles, it's not common for us to train them at all. So once you do, the benefits are incredible. We have women post menopause feeling like, oh my God, sex feels better than when I was a teenager. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But it does, because even if we experience pelvic floor weakness after childbirth, or we experience lack of collagen as we age, the muscle layer is still incredibly powerful. And your ability to develop muscle and develop new muscle fibers and develop strength will never go away. So that is actually, that's if I want people to take something away from this talk, is that you have a lot more agency than you think when it comes to your pleasure. So you are designed, and your vagina is designed for pleasure. I know we only raise the clitoris flag and everything is about the clitoris, and it's fantastic. But actually your G-spot is where the clitoris halves meet inside of you. So everything that's inside of you is designed to give you a lot of pleasure, and you can control every single muscle fiber to make the whole experience completely unique. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter how many kids you've had.
Awesome. And also, this must be especially helpful for women, I was going to say, as you said, postmenopausal, who might be experiencing a little incontinence. I know the science says at least 50% of females are going to have some urinary incontinence as we age. So strengthening these muscles and the ability to do tricks for intimate pleasure has the added benefit of, like, you're not going to get that for today.
It's absolutely correct. We try not to advertise our program or our book that way, just because we really focus on pleasure. But by default, all of those issues are going to be done, like organ prolapse, urinary incontinence, vaginal laxity, all of that by default gets completely changed, because on the very basic foundational layer of this, you're strengthening your muscles. And then we start working on dexterity and on speed and all these crazy stuff on top that are designed for pleasure. But yes, correct.
So I'm particularly interested with speed, because you've mentioned it a few times.
Yes.
And so I'm a busy mom. I've got 8 million things going on at all times. And I know a lot of other women are in the same situation. And sometimes it's not that we don't want to have sex, it's that we just have so many other things to do. But we do want to please our partner, and we want to get a little bit in. So speed is like, well, if I can get this done in less than 5 minutes, then I can get this done. So when you learn the speed aspects of vaginal gymnastics, does it help you get a session sort of?
Oh yeah, quickies become way more. The only thing that I will say, the only downside is that you'd probably continue thinking about sex throughout your day, even as you keep going with your stuff. That is the one thing I'll say. But it's fantastic for speed because of 2 reasons. First of all, when you develop a lot of strength and a lot of dexterity and you start doing these moves, you can control when your partner comes. You can become the ultimate decider on, okay, I'm going to lock you in, and I'm not going to allow you to ejaculate. And now I'm going to release in a way so that you can, it can become to that level of degree. And a lot of women use this for edging and for some sort of like dominant play. Like a lot of women are really, really into that, controlling their partner's orgasm. But on the other side, because you're training these moves throughout the week, you're becoming way more effective at the whole arousal loop. So oxytocin release, your heart racing, everything that happens before we climax, that becomes extremely effective as you train this. You start getting a little bit hotter, your heart starts racing, you become wet. All of that happens way quicker because you become more optimized at drawing in blood to your genital region. So you orgasm much more frequently and much faster. So even in a smaller sex session, you might get 3 orgasms, whereas before maybe you got 1. So that's another benefit of this practice for sure.
Wow, this is exciting.
It's crazy stuff.
I'm ready to work out.
I am so excited. I'm so excited. I want to send you the course and I want to see which one becomes your favorite exercise, because every woman seems to have their favorite for different reasons. And I love learning which one is people's favorite.
Wow. So I know one population of women that do have some problems with pleasure are women who have experienced trauma. They do want to have a pleasurable love life again, but they still they're not completely healed from their trauma. So I'm thinking that vaginal gymnastics helps women feel stronger and more in control. And that might also be really beneficial for women who have experienced sexual trauma and didn't feel in control and don't know how to reclaim their love life.
I love this. I think this is such a beautiful, beautiful, thoughtful question to ask. We've worked with a few women who had experienced abuse. And what they say when they learn this stuff is that for the first time, they feel like they're in control of the situation. Like that experience that they had really took away their power, and they just sex became this thing where it's like, I'm not even going near that again. And with these exercises, it sort of completely shifted the mindset when it came to sex. Oh my God, I can even come from just doing these exercises on my own. So now when I'm with someone, I am the one in control. I am doing these things. I am an active participant of this, and I can direct the sexual encounter wherever I want, because I can even decide whether he comes or not. So it's really, really crazy. It gives them this, I don't like to use the word empowerment because I feel like we've overused it sometimes, but this is really, really quite empowering. And it's all your body. It's all inside of us. Like, how crazy is it that we have all of the tools to change these things about ourselves and improve these aspects of our lives just by default through the factory. We just have them. It's amazing. The other psychological aspect of trauma, a lot of women, have a lot of trouble physiological aspect of trauma. A lot of women have trouble with lubrication after the fact, or some women have trouble with, they've become way too tense. And there's something that we talk about often, which is a hypertonic pelvic floor. Sometimes your muscles can be so tense, whether through trauma or because you're a type A, like I am. Sometimes you're prone to this sort of tension. That you need to be able to release that tension, just like in any other exercise. You don't want to constantly be stimulating the muscle. The muscle grows at rest. So you want to make sure that you're able to relax the pelvic floor and develop another aspect that we spoke about, which is called flexibility. And that ability for you to really relax your muscles and for your muscles to really expand. Because there's a process that happens when we are aroused called vaginal tenting, which is your uterus shifts to allow space for the penis and for penetration to feel good. So the more flexible your muscles are, the better this entire system works together. So you want to be able to, we talk a lot about rest, about breathing techniques. We talk a lot about stretching the pelvic floor so that you're not just strong and dexterous, you're also very flexible and able to release that tension. So that's also, I love that you're kind of touching on everything with your questions. It's fantastic.
But I really love the scientific foundation of your program, because very few people understand working out. I see people all the time in the gym and they're doing the same thing every day with
correct
weight.
Absolutely.
And you might want to change it up and then fatigue the muscle.
Correct.
Fatigue the muscle, in that 24 hours of recovery, it's going to come back stronger, and it's going to come back ready for the next level of a challenge. And so I love that you're incorporating all of these principles into our vaginal muscles, which
absolutely
people don't really think about. And I think especially as we're aging, another great way to take your power, your sexual power back, is for women going through perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. More and more often, this is also a time when women get divorced and they start a new life. And I have worked with a lot of women who thought, I really didn't even enjoy sex with my husband compared to what I'm dealing with now. So what a great gift to give to yourself if you are going through a life change, that you can come through a transition, whether it's menopause or divorce or leaving your job or retirement.
Absolutely.
But you can come through a transition more powerful sexually. And what motivation, for this next phase of life.
It's lovely, and it's phenomenal for libido as well. A lot of women come to us because they're like, I feel like I used to be super horny all the time, and now, I don't know. I just lost it, and it's really heartbreaking because like they identified with that part of themselves, and this is great for that. Pelvic floor training improves your testosterone levels. It makes you horny like a teenage boy. Like, it's crazy because of all of this arousal loop and lubrication, everything that's going on inside of you. And obviously, if sex feels better, you're gonna want to do it more often. But yeah, we kind of talk about that in our community quite a bit. Like, I'm at work and I'm just thinking about having sex and I just can't concentrate because I'm just so.
But that's really, really wonderful. And I often think some of the ways I help people is just by giving them exercises that make them think about sex. And then I don't do anything. All they're doing is thinking about it.
Correct.
According to
the brain is fantastic. It's such a powerful mechanism, right? If you're training these exercises through the week and you do this we talk about mind muscle connection in the course a lot, to bring it back to fitness components, right? Mind muscle connection and thinking about having your partner inside of you as you whip or as you lock or as you shimmy and do all of these exercises. You're prompting your brain to think about sex multiple times a week. Then when you see your partner and you're actually with them, then that's prompting you to do the exercises, which prompts you to think about sex and associate it with sex again. And then you create this, this virtuous loop of horniness.
So tell me a little bit about lubrication and desire, because I think those are two of the main problems. Basically, so many women, I say it's like over 30 now, don't want to have sex with their long-term partner. They're kind of bored. And I think women are much more complicated when it comes to stimulation compared to men. And so there are a lot of women who seek help, who just they don't have desire. They don't get wet when they want to get wet. And sometimes, they think, am I just not going to be a sexual being?
It's terrible.
And so have you noticed that this does really help with lubrication in women who are going through changes like that?
Correct. And the women who generally come to us with that issue in mind generally are, perimenopause, menopause. And that's one of my favorite cohorts of people to help, because I identify with that a lot. And I know that might happen later on, but I identify with a high libido. I've always been the higher libido partner in a relationship. And that's something that's part of my being. And it's really sad when that goes away, right? But absolutely, as I said, the research shows that pelvic floor training increases testosterone, increases lubrication, increases arousal, and so all of this has already been proven, which is kind of crazy that then we don't talk about this as an actual answer for people with these issues. So, and that brings a whole other conversation, which is,
don't even get me started.
Why are we not telling people that they have agency over this? Is it because we can actually sell them a bunch of like lubrication pills and this and vaginal rejuvenation and all of these crazy expensive treatments when they could actually just work out their muscles? That stuff, that can get me going for hours. I just get really angry when I think about that. But yes, all of that helps. And again, it's been proven, and it's also on our informal research. What we've seen is we talk about in our community about something called WTF orgasms. And that is when you start exercising these muscles and you start getting more aroused and you start enjoying sex more, you will start orgasming in the weirdest ways. Like you can get triggered real easy. Like your partner will start kissing your neck and then you're like, what's going on? I feel really aroused right now. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? And then suddenly it happens and you just climax. And first of all, your partner will be like, I am the greatest ever. I am the man. I am the magician. I am the wizard of orgasms. But really, what's been happening is just you became more optimized or effective at giving yourself a climax, essentially. And I remember when it first started happening for me, my partner at the time, he used to call himself the magical penis, because I was going. It happened once when I was doing oral sex on him, and that was a whole thing. And it happened for me as I was, doing it. Yes. And so he was like, that's it. I have graduated from men's school. I am the greatest. Like, sweetie, this didn't used to happen before. So relax. But this will happen. It's very, very common that this will happen. So we still are not entirely sure where this comes from, why, but it's something that keeps being reported to us over and over by our students. Like, I am getting aroused way faster out of things that shouldn't trigger me that much. Like he starts, kissing my nipples and I'm like ready to go. What's happening? So I'm like, well, that's why we need more research on this. We are, dramatically under-researched as women when it comes to sex. But I really want to put forward more research on this specifically.
Well, I'm thinking, Bel, that we've got to do some studies together. I'm going to get in touch with you after this show. I am a professor at a medical university, and I definitely believe this type of training, one, of course, it should be covered by insurance. We're just supposed to rip our bodies apart, having babies and serving the world, populating the world with no treatment available, and helping us through a transition that every woman is going to go through at some point in our lives. This should definitely be part of our standard healthcare. And I think, that would be the difference if women ran things, but we are getting there one orgasm at a time.
One orgasm at a time. Oh, Sanjay, that's amazing. And that's what that's my biggest focus right now, putting research forward on this, because I want every woman to have access to this. That's why I wrote the book at the beginning of the year, to have a really, really affordable resource that's science-backed on this so that people can understand what's going on. But the truth is, there are still some components of this that we just need science to catch up. When I developed the program, I consulted with a lot of doctors and pelvic floor physicians. So the people who should know the most about the pelvic floor. And even them, they were like, well, I guess technically you could do this. And yes, the front wall is different than the back. And this all makes sense. But nobody taught us this because there was no reason to. And I'm like, this is crazy. We still know very little about the muscles that surround the vagina. It's insane to me, and that's really what I want. It's
a travesty. I actually published a paper last year called "What Are Future Doctors Learning About Sex?" And the answer is a big nothing. I mean, they don't.
Wow.
And most doctors, I think it's around 90% of physicians, feel unprepared to address sexual issues with their patients. And there is, in the United States, I know you're in Argentina now, but in the United States, we have no standardized medical education curriculum through our medical schools. We have no standardized sex education curriculum.
Right, correct.
Medical schools. So this is something I've been toying with, like, really no one's going to do it. And so I do think that's going to be in my near future. We have to come up with the textbook to teach doctors how to address these issues that everyone is going through, and that we don't always need drugs and expensive programs to deal with when we have this.
Everything is inside of you.
Within us.
Yes, correct. Everything is already inside of you. We're born with all the tools we need. We don't need to be spending thousands of dollars in vaginal rejuvenation. That breaks my heart. So many women are like, I'm about to break bank on this. And I'm like, wait. Before you do this whole surgery that's completely irreversible, can we see if we can work with what you already have? Because you have muscles, and we can definitely work on this. And I'm really happy to say that every woman who has considered vaginal rejuvenation surgery, and then they came to us, they've never gone surgery,
Oh,
not
that's
once. So I'm
wonderful.
like, so after that, my entire approach to this was like, we need to get this out there. We need to get this out there. I don't come from the medical industry, so I'm lacking definitely the connections. But that's something that I really want to do. I'm working with a pelvic floor kinesiologist from Berlin right now, and she has a device that she's testing out now that can measure the vaginal strength in all 360 degrees. And
Wow.
that's something that's been lacking, because so far we just understand the deepness levels, which are the Kegels. But what I teach also has you isolating the front wall, the back wall, the left wall, the right wall, and at different vertical levels. So we basically isolate and identify 12 unique regions of movement from which we create all of these crazy exercises. So this device would be able to help us see if women, like basically prove that women can move every single muscle fiber inside of them. So that is my next big thing. I am so excited.
Oh, that sounds super exciting. Now,
yes.
Women can find out more information through your book, and your book is available on Amazon. Is that correct?
My book is available on Amazon. We reached number one and number first. It's the Gohddess Method, and by Bel Di Lorenzo. Sometimes Amazon doesn't play nice with sex books, so you can try using my name, Bel Di Lorenzo, or the Gohddess Method, or Gohddess Method Pompoir, but you'll find it. But you can find the book and the course and the community and the coaching. I want to have everything available to people who want to learn. I have a lot of blog posts that I've written about this that are for free. We have a free guide. Like, I just want this knowledge to be out there. So whatever best way you learn, you can find it in our website, which is www.gohddess.com. Again, goddess, but with an H after the O, which is the popular sound that you'll be making a lot of after you learn this.
Goh, right?
Yes, GOHDDESS.com. And that's where you can find everything that we have. We have the blogs, we have the podcast, we have the book, we have our main signature flagship program with every single skill, with the animations, with the community, with access to me. You can do one-on-one coaching. I just want people to have access to whatever method of learning that they prefer. And the one thing that I will say is a big difference between the program and the course is that the program and the book is that the book is really a Bible for vaginal gymnastics. So what you get is it's all the science behind it, everything, how these muscles work, how these muscles interact, how you can develop each of these muscles, a lot about my story and how I developed it and the stories of women throughout the world, and then how you can develop your own training. So if you're more of a do-it-yourself kind of person, the book is definitely for you. Now, if you want someone to take you by the hand and watch animations that explain every single move and what you should be doing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that is the program. You have access to the community. You also get a free copy of the book in either case if you get the program, and you get access to me. So these are the main distinction that I would say. And the program, some people ask, oh, is it like pornographic? Is it like, no, the program is all like illustrations and they look very beautiful, and you would have no idea that they're vaginas unless you were doing the program and you learn what they are. Because my main concern, I guess, was I wanted it to be very classy, and I didn't want a woman to be training in her bedroom and then for a little kid to walk in and be traumatized for life. So I wanted it to be very, very friendly for everyone, because a lot of the people that we help are definitely moms. So I really wanted it to be friendly for the viewer.
It's really nice to bring sexuality education into people's world from a wholesome, pure, healthy perspective. I remind people it's okay to talk about sex. I talk to my child about sex. His friends come over because their parents have told them you can always ask his mom about sex. And you know what? They're not even excited about it. It's so boring when I talk to them about it, because it's just part of nature. It's part of science. It's part of our health. So
I wish we spoke about it that way. Yeah.
Yes. And so I love that you're empowering women to take their power back when it comes to the bedroom. And you're also doing it in such a scientifically sound, healthy way that doesn't diminish it. We're not going to use nasty names to describe our body parts. We're going to use correct names. We're going to teach people how our bodies work. And I just think, this is just way overdue. I think everything you've said also to me sounds a lot like vaginal yoga, but that's another class. I took a class called Yoga for Better Sex. And I think that this is like, these go back to back. They
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I'm going to wrap up now, and then we'll give your socials. So you guys know what time it is. It's time for the climax. So the 5 takeaways that we want you to remember about vaginal gymnastics is 1, vaginal gymnastics can actually train women to have more pleasurable sexual experiences that lead to, what is it? OMG, WTF types of orgasms, those toe curling climaxes that make you think about sex for the rest of the day. And 2, vaginal gymnastics should only be done with a partner who you really care about and you want to call you back, because once you do it with a partner, he is never going to leave you alone. And 3, vaginal gymnastics can be especially beneficial for women after childbirth who want to rebuild their pelvic floor muscles, their vaginal muscles, and reclaim their power in the bedroom. And 4, vaginal gymnastics can also be incredibly beneficial for postmenopausal women who are looking for natural solutions to not only strengthen their vaginal muscles, but also increase the speed at which they can produce lubrication and become stimulated. And boom, the bonus is when you do vaginal gymnastics with someone who you really care about, you're going to make him think that he has a magical penis. Like he is the wizard of all orgasms. And who doesn't want to make their partner feel like that?
I love that. I love that.
Now, where can people find you on socials? I know you're extremely popular on TikTok. Can you give your handles?
So our TikTok handle, I'm pretty sure, is Gohddess. So GOH_DDESS. We have a Reddit community. We're big on YouTube. So everything that you'll find with Gohddess with an H after the O, you can find us on TikTok, on Reddit, on Instagram, on YouTube. But yeah, if you want free resources, I really like long form content. So our YouTube is great for that. Our blogs are great for that. And obviously then you can get the free guide that you can download at our website. And then you have the book and you have the program and everything like that. But if you want free resources, you can find all of those on our website as well.
And the website and your website links to all of your socials, right?
Correct. So that's the main hub where you can just go and find everything you need.
Oh, yeah. I had so much fun talking to you today about
this. Was amazing.
And this is so great to really talk to you about some science coming up too.
I am so excited. And this has been, I just need to say it. The way that you've structured all this conversation is just, we were able to cover all of the different angles of this. This is brilliant in a very doctor-like way. That's exactly what you could expect from someone like you. It's fantastic. It was just so clean, so perfect. I love talking about this. It was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Well, I was trying to, do some tricks during the whole time. So I'm feeling good.
I love it. Fantastic.
For your daily dose of Nookie knowledge, check me out on all the social media networks. That's TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram. Come on, baby. What are you waiting for? You know you want to link up. That's Dr. Sonjia, DrSonJia. Thank you so much for tuning into Sex in South Beach, where everyone comes for happier, healthier sex.
My Uber driver lost his mind the other day, but he blamed me. He said I smelled so good he became too excited to drive. This man actually pulled over to get himself together. And he refused to drive until I told him the name of my fragrance. Then he bought 3 bottles before driving again. I know Sen's body oil makes men crazy, but that Uber ride should be free.